Alternative historians also not consequent, not scientific. At best, next to consensus, also alternative historians are, still, not consequent, also see former video if possible. Contrary to consensus and even many or most alternative historians, Michael Button suggests the existence of ocean-faring advanced civilizations, and at least in part bases that suggestion of the existence of a signal Y on both sides of the Pacific. In the case of population Y, also called signal Y, which is found on both sides of the Pacific Ocean, Michael Button argues against the improbability of the by consensus proposed migration over land and through the Beringia Land Bridge, rightfully claiming that the signal Y does not show up in the improbable route from places south of South and East Asia with the signal Y to the north. Next across the Beringia Land Bridge, and next down again as far as the Amazon forest and beyond. He is one of the first to question this key part of consensus, which includes out of Africa and into the Americas in all cases through the Beringia Land Bridge. He, rightfully so, remembers that the Polynesians, that are claimed, including by consensus, to have populated Polynesia, but also other parts of Oceania, and even much further to the east roughly as far as India, and also the island of Easter Island, close to the coast of Peru, South America. It is strange that consensus admits, and even proposes as consensus, that Polynesians have done all this on their own, even while Polynesia is only composed of small islands mostly in the west part of the extremely wide Pacific Ocean, that hardly dispose of the resources to maintain themselves. The Pacific Ocean's greatest width is approximately 20,000 kilometers, 12,000 miles. This width is measured between the coast of Colombia in South America and the Malay Peninsula in Asia. Consensus as well as Michael Button do not provide the arguments we use, and that are much more in line with physics and a much more obvious way of navigating, for it being the Native Americans, which most of all carry the signal Y, to have migrated, while being propelled by the strong westward currents and winds of the Pacific, to all the places west of the Americas that signal Y still is observed today. This way consensus nor Michael Button do solve certain issues with the Polynesians migrating to the Americas, that possibly consensus will one day use against Michael Button's video, arguments, and examples. Also there is a red light flashing right from onset. There is no Polynesian DNA found in the Americas, this while Native American DNA is clearly found in Polynesia, along the Austronesian expansion, this until Africa, and even beyond. So is the sweet potato that is native to the Americas. Independent of consensus, we will use these arguments right here, so Michael Button can think about these arguments, and prepare for others that eventually will do the same any time in the future. A. While the signal Y is on both sides, the Polynesian DNA is not a possible ancestor DNA for the Native American DNA. B. While Native American DNA is found in Polynesia, no Polynesian DNA is found in the Americas. C. Polynesian DNA does not carry Neanderthal DNA, and some Native American groups carry the highest proportion of Neanderthal DNA of the world. Differently than with the improbable, with the improbability of it proven by DNA, consensus explanation of interbreeding with Neanderthals, Michael Button cannot even do that because there simply are no Neanderthals to interbreed within the region of subject, nor underway on the ocean voyage across the Pacific. This is probably the main reason that consensus did not roll out yet for themselves Michael Button's suggestions as a theory of their own instead of, or together with, the by consensus fiercely or dogmatically defended Beringia Land Bridge crossing. Nevertheless, there is one more reason that, also or even more the reason consensus did choose not to use the possibility of crossing of the Pacific, as suggested by Michael Button. Both of these by us of origin for existence brought up flaws regarding crossing of the Pacific from west to east, will also illustrate that it is not easy to go against consensus without being hacked to pieces by them at some point. The thing is that it is not impossible for consensus to be ruthless when they hack into pieces an alternative history and its proposer. That will not happen to Michael Button, because he wisely mentioned at the end of his video that nothing in the video is proven, and that includes that nothing is peer-reviewed, so Michael Button should be totally safe against claims from third parties. Further, Michael Button is very clever and practical, and a warned man and woman is worth double. Nevertheless, he should keep in mind that any eventual inexperience with genetics from his side makes any alternative history of fact he will propose more vulnerable. Unless he has it reviewed by at least one person who has this experience. Michael Button can count on us of origin for existence, to be amongst the reviewers if he would ask us to. Going against the ancestral markers and the migrational markers, etc., is like going against and fighting against the laws of biology and genetics. It is not only Michael who does that in his suggestion, it is most of all consensus that does this on several, more, occasions. Michael Button still could propose an alternative for the Beringia Land Bridge standstill, and if well done, this would be less improbable than the Beringia Land Bridge standstill itself, and would have at least some evidence of presence, something that the Beringia Land Bridge standstill does not have at all. At least not on and around the by consensus claimed land bridge itself. We do not recommend doing that at all. We strongly recommend to study the ancestral makers and use them as any true scientific approach should do. But consensus, focused on status quo, does not do. We are convinced that any theory that goes against the ancestral markers will fall. We have arrived in the age of genetics, which includes ancient DNA and statistical genetics, and there will be no way back.